He stood at the top, a self-made man, the kind of person who seemed to have everything figured out. John built his empire from the ground up. He was sharp, driven, and commanded respect in every boardroom he entered. His life was a testament to his ambition, a carefully constructed fortress of success. On his arm was Sarah, a woman whose smile could light up a room, and who was now carrying their future child. From the outside, they were the perfect picture of success and happiness, but inside the walls of their designer home, a different story was unfolding, one that John would come to regret for the rest of his life. The pressure of his world was immense. Every day was a battle, a high-stakes game of strategy and dominance. John was a master at it, but he brought the battlefield home with him. The same aggressive tactics he used to close deals, he started using in his arguments with Sarah. The stress coiled around him like a snake, and he started to see everything as a challenge to his authority, even the gentle suggestions of his pregnant partner. He became short-tempered, dismissive, and cold. The man who once showered Sarah with affection was replaced by a stranger, one who saw vulnerability as a weakness. The arguments started small, a disagreement over dinner, a forgotten appointment, but they escalated quickly. John's words became sharper, laced with a cruelty he'd normally reserve for a business rival. He would belittle her feelings, dismiss her concerns about the pregnancy, and make her feel small and insignificant. He was winning the arguments, he thought, asserting his control. But with every victory, he was losing something far more precious. He was losing her. He was losing them. He was so consumed by his own world, his own stress, that he failed to see the devastating impact of his emotional onslaught. Sarah, who was already navigating the emotional and physical challenges of pregnancy, found herself walking on eggshells. The joy and excitement she once felt were being suffocated by anxiety and fear. She tried to reach him, to break through the armor he had built around his heart, but he was unreachable. He would use her pregnancy as a weapon, accusing her of being overly emotional, of using her condition to manipulate him. Each word was a blow, chipping away at her confidence and her love. She felt isolated, trapped, and deeply alone, right when she needed his support the most. John's world revolved around numbers, profits, and losses. He was a man who understood tangible results. What he didn't understand was the invisible damage he was inflicting. He couldn't quantify the pain in Sarah's eyes or the silence that filled their home. He saw her tears not as a sign of her hurt, but as a frustration, an obstacle to his peace. He told himself he was just stressed, that this was a phase, that things would get better after the big merger, after the next product launch. But he was wrong. He was creating a wound that time couldn't easily heal. The breaking point came on a Tuesday evening. It wasn't a dramatic showdown, but a quiet, heartbreaking moment of realization. Sarah had been trying to talk to him about the nursery, her voice soft and hopeful. John, buried in his laptop, barely looked up. He snapped, telling her he didn't have time for such trivial things. The look on her face wasn't anger. It was resignation. It was the look of someone who had finally given up. In that moment, something shifted. The silence that followed was heavier than any argument they'd ever had. Later that night, unable to sleep, John walked past the half-decorated nursery. He saw the tiny clothes Sarah had folded, the books she had arranged on the shelf. He picked up a small pair of shoes, and a wave of something he hadn't felt in a long time washed over him. It wasn't power, it wasn't control. It was a profound and gut-wrenching sense of loss. He finally saw what he had been doing. He had been treating the most important people in his life like they were line items on a balance sheet. He had been hurting the woman he loved and his unborn child, all for the sake of his ego. That night was the beginning of John's long journey from power to pain and then toward redemption. He realized that the strength he prided himself on was a brittle facade. True strength, he began to understand, wasn't about winning every battle. It was about knowing which battles were worth fighting and knowing when to surrender to love. It was about being a partner, a protector, a safe harbor, especially for a woman carrying his child. The regret was a physical ache, a constant companion that reminded him of every harsh word, every moment of cold indifference. He started trying to make amends, but it wasn't easy. The trust he had shattered couldn't be rebuilt overnight. He had to learn a new language, one of vulnerability, empathy, and patience. He started with two simple words he hadn't used in a long time. I'm sorry. He started listening, truly listening, not to find a flaw in her argument, but to understand her heart. He went to therapy, something the old John would have scoffed at, to confront the demons that drove his behavior. He had to tear down the empire of his ego to build a home for his family. He learned that the stress of his job was no excuse for his cruelty. He learned that his partner's needs during pregnancy weren't an inconvenience, but a sacred responsibility. This story is a powerful reminder. The way we treat our loved ones, especially during times of vulnerability like pregnancy, defines who we are far more than any business success or financial achievement. Emotional and verbal mistreatment can leave scars that are deeper and more painful than any physical injury. It creates an environment of stress and anxiety that is not only harmful to the mother, but can also have lasting effects on the child. If you are going through something similar, or if you see yourself in John's story, please know that it is never okay to be treated this way. Your feelings are valid, and your well-being and that of your child is the absolute priority. There are people who want to help. You are not alone. And if you recognize your own behavior in John's actions, know that it's never too late to change. It's never too late to choose a different path, to choose kindness, to choose love. The first step is acknowledging the problem and reaching out for guidance. True strength is found in our ability to be gentle, to be kind, and to love fiercely. Thank you for watching.